Hey, Fearless. Welcome to another Tactical Tuesday. Happy to host today. Today's a very special day. Today is, something we have to talk about and think about as investors all of the time. And that's what's going on up here. What's happening up here that's either helping us or maybe holding us back. So we have our resident expert on that, the one and only Melanie Robinson, who we all love so much and who has helped us so much. So she's going to share with us, we're going to talk about the three biggest things that we have in common as investors that we hear on a very regular basis that holds us back. So of course there's going to be a million others, and once we get rid of one, we're going to replace it with another. But for the most part, there are certain things that Melanie sees on a very regular basis in dealing with investors. So Melanie has not only been doing our MindPower Mondays for the last 3 years or so, helping us, work on ourselves and work on what we need to keep moving forward in our businesses. But she's also helped our Ignited members for the last couple of years as well. She does a weekly accountability call with them where, they come and make their momentum call where they come and they create their own momentum every single week. And so she works with investors on a very regular basis in that mind power space. So she's going to share with us top 3 things, and I know I can relate to all of them, and I'm sure you can too. And then she's going to give us the tools that we can use to work through those so they don't hold us back, because they're going to be there. We know they're going to be there. That's just part of it. But we don't want them holding us back. So without further ado, I am going to bring on the one and only Melanie. Hey.
Hello. Okay. Thank you for having me.
As always. It's our pleasure. Okay, so let me see here. I'm just going to hit up some of these comments because there we go. Melanie is amazing. I was going to say, I know there's going to be lots of love in here for you. First one I saw, Melanie is amazing. Yeah.
I can't read them, so.
Oh, no?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Maybe I can. Hold on. Oh, I can. Maybe that's a bad thing. Anyways.
Okay, so yeah, we've got, all the way from Cape Breton. We've got a couple people in Yarmouth, to, Fort Saskatchewan in Alberta, and all the way, let's see, Kevin in Ontario and Irshad. Yes, we're referring to our queen, Melanie. So you can guess who that is.
Yes, I can. I can see it, but I also could guess it because there's only one person on this planet who calls me the queen.
That's right. Irshad, always. Tara, hey, Tara, nice to see you. It's been a bit. And Nanaimo, there we go. I was hoping for one that was literally coast to coast. So we have now Nanaimo all the way out to Cape Breton Island. So we are officially coast to coast tonight. So thanks for saying hi as you guys jump on. Tonight, special night, we are excited to help Melanie move into a next chapter of her life and boom, out there with a new coaching business that she's taking care of. And that's going to be focused on investors and focused on mindset. So she's been helping our Ignited members to do this for the last couple of years. Our Fearless group, as you know, in MindPower Mondays, but she is spreading her wings, and she is going to be helping us individually one-on-one now. So how lucky are we? Okay, in the meantime, though, we need to know, Melanie, why is MindPower so important? Why is it that us as investors really need to focus on this? Because we know from our point of view, but we don't know from the professional point of view. So help us out.
Well, I think it's probably going to be a similar point of view, but what I would say is wherever we go, there we are. We can't escape ourselves. So when we're trying to build success in real estate, right? It's like, it's true. And so when we're trying to build our success in real estate, and everything I share, really it could be in any area of our life, but we all come together here as real estate investors, is that what we're thinking, what we're saying to ourselves, what we're thinking about ourselves, about our capabilities, about the world around us, that dialogue that we have going on in our own mind, it dictates the action that we take or the action that we do not take. So when we're wanting to do something like investing in real estate, which, we feel here in these communities, like, well, like it's the normal thing to do because we're surrounded by people who do it. But when you look at the world, we're pretty amazing that we're going after such big goals and doing these things that not the average person does. And that means that we need to be really crystal clear inside of ourselves and kind of clear out that clutter so that we can actually go and do the things that need to be done in order to create success.
Yeah, totally. And I love like what you said, like, here we are comparing each other to each other lots of times in this small world of real estate when we are perhaps not even 1% of the, population of Canada, let's say, or the world, and yet we compare ourselves to each other going, oh, I'm not doing enough, when we're doing so much more than the average human being. So yeah. Late to the party, Kevin. Good to see you. I have been wondering about you guys. So you're in Cochrane. Awesome. Good to see you, Kevin. I keep on looking up at this light as if it's the camera, but the camera is there. So every time you see me talking to the light,
talk wherever you want. We'll still listen to you.
Bring me back. I feel like that bug in the Bug's Life. He's like, I can't. Anyways, okay. So, so yeah, we know that we're our worst enemies. We know that we're, damaging ourselves in that way. But like you said, we also know that if we can get this together, then it is going to manifest in everything else that we do. So tell us a little bit about your background. Tell us a little bit about, both in why you know this stuff, also in how you've related it to your own real estate investing. Tell us that.
Okay, well, that's a lot. So let me see how I can clearly and concisely say this. So my background is we have or had a family business doing coaching, training, consulting, leadership skills, communication skills. We worked one-on-one, and we worked with corporations using NLP. So I'm a master practitioner of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. It's a study of the mind, how the mind works, really the strategies that people run. What's the difference between somebody who's achieving success? What are they doing in here in comparison to somebody who's struggling, and really mapping that out and figuring out, well, how can I replicate what they're doing so that I can get similar results to them? So it's a really incredible model that can be used in many different ways. And so that's my background. I believe that having this passion for mindset, really understanding the correlation between what you're thinking about, what you're saying to yourself, and how you show up in the world because of that, I think has been a huge benefit to me. From the perspective of, as an example, joining Ignited and then feeling comfortable to go and find JV partners and raise capital. Not only be comfortable doing that, but actually end up, and it all kind of just naturally flowed this way. I didn't pre-plan it, but I ended up in a role in our partnership where that was my role, was to raise capital and find our partners. That's something that a lot of people have a lot of fear around, right? And that is what I do and what I love doing because of the relationship side of it. So I think that my ability to use it as a skill, to be able to if I'm feeling nervous for something, do whatever I need to do prior to entering that situation. All of those skills, it's actually a skill. It's not just, maybe for some people it's a natural thing, but when you use it as a skill, you can really do anything. Like, you really can do anything once you recognize that it's a skill.
And you've shown us that and grown with us through that by sharing us with your own struggles and saying, hey, listen, this is what I had to do before I went into this meeting, or before I went to this, fourplex or whatever, like, you've actually shown us. So one example that I can think of that I really loved is when you say, like, okay, so I'm fearful that I'm going to go into this meeting and it's going to be like my worst nightmare. They're going to, be like, I'm going to screw up. I'm going to not know how to answer questions. I'm going to, whatever it might be. And I'm going to walk away with, without the goal achieved that I went in to go. And you say, no, picture yourself succeeding. So picture that meeting. Now picture it. Even if you have to fake it in your mind, it goes great. You have awesome conversation. You hit every nail on the head. All of these things. So picture that. Picture you come out with the outcome that you want. And even if you don't get that outcome, at least all you have is the disappointment from the outcome, not all the nerves and tension and anxiety leading up to the meeting, during the meeting, and then have the disappointment. You kind of cut it in a third. And I
100%.
love that.
And not only that, so I mean, there's so much to that, and that's actually one of the things that I'll probably share in a little bit. But I mean, there's so much to that. A big, huge component. I mean, one of them is, like you said, torturing yourself before, for weeks leading up, or days, or hours, whatever it is. Literally torturing yourself when you don't know the outcome. But here's the other, like, the piece that I think people miss, and this is what I think is so critical, is, well, all of it's critical, but the idea that you are going to walk into that meeting a different person depending on what you're thinking about before you walk in. So not only when you're imagining it not going well and all of that stuff, you're creating misery in yourself, and that means you can't deal with your children and your spouse and anything else that you have to do in life before you go. You're not motivated to go. You don't feel like going. You're like all of those pieces for your own self. But the other piece of that is, whatever you're thinking, doing all of that, it shines through in your physiology, in your tone of voice, in your enthusiasm, like in all of that. So you go into that meeting and you've made up this big story in your mind that you're going to do terrible. And so how are you going to present yourself? There's no way you can. Yeah, like there's just no way. So, I mean, there's just so many. It almost always comes back to the same thing, which is what's going on in here. Now that creates how you feel, your quality of life, if you enjoy it. It creates how you show up. And that means it therefore is directly correlated with the success that you create, because you can't connect with people when you're thinking you're a piece of poop. You just can't, right?
You're so real, Mel. That's what we love. Part of what we love about you. But yeah, it's absolutely true. So let's talk about some of those things. What we're always looking for is tactical stuff in Tactical Tuesday.
Yeah.
And what you're always providing us with in your MindPower stuff is that tactical, okay, I get it, great. Or maybe I don't even really fully believe it, but I'm going to try it anyway because I know you and I trust you. And so what are some of the things? We're going to talk about the 3 biggest fears that most of us will encounter as investors. Not everybody for sure, but most of us at some point or another are going to have these generalities. So what is our number one thing that you can help us through, that we hit as investors, that you've got a mini fix for?
Yeah. So the first obstacle that I think we've already kind of hit on, but we can dive in a little bit deeper is she said, yes, I did.
Sorry, I had to put that on. And I love Melissa's too, but then I was going to click on it and I saw Kevin's and I'm like, oh yeah. But it's true, Melissa. Like the wind up for the event can be way worse, and we talk ourselves into this crazy frenzy, and then really it didn't need to be done. Okay, so
no.
Number
90% of the time, it's not as bad as you've made up in your mind. So I know Nicole can't be on here today, but she's always quoting me, if you're going to make it up good, because that is kind of a foundation of everything that I care about sharing. But okay, so talking about challenges, sort of the top 3, and like you said, I mean, there's a million of them, but there are definitely some obstacles or challenges from a mindset perspective that across the board we all experience at different times. So the first one is fear. We already kind of talked about that. I think the cat's out of the bag. We all know that fear can be a huge obstacle for us, whether it's fear of failure, whether it's fear of people not liking you, not wanting to partner with you, not wanting to lend you money. Like, there could be a million different scenario. Fear of, like you mentioned, you're going into a meeting, fear that you're not going to say the right thing, that you're not going to know the right thing. Fear is huge, right?
It was for us. It was the number one thing that we had to get through. It was fear of rejection, fear of failure. Like, what if I try really hard at this real estate game? What if I put everything into all my best, and I still can't do it, and I suck? I really would suck then if I tried. And so maybe I just won't try fully, so that I don't have the hurt of having failed.
And I mean, one thing you know that I'm like super transparent and an open book with this, because I share this stuff, because I love this, because I embody it to the best of my ability as often as I can. It does not mean that I don't experience fear. No. It just means that I do what I need to do to blast past it and achieve whatever it is that I'm wanting to achieve. Starting this coaching business, do you think there was not fear walking away from, life as I knew it, doing the things that I was doing and stepping into something. What if nobody follows me? So just don't think, anybody who's listening, that I'm exempt or that anyone's exempt.
No
It's
one.
a natural human emotion. We all fear it, we all fear it. We all feel it and fear
That
it.
too.
And one of the things, I can remember talking about fear, like right when COVID hit, that was the topic that I did on a MindPower Monday. And one of the things I want to say too is fear isn't necessarily a bad thing, because it's an indication. Like, let's be realistic here. We're talking about money. We're talking about other people's money. We're talking about really important things. You do not want to be a person who flies through everything, doesn't, has no emotion, and it doesn't care at all, and just goes and buys stuff and finds partners without any kind of stop point of like, okay, we need to do our due diligence. We need to ask some questions. So fear isn't in and of itself a bad thing. It's like, whoa, okay, I'm about to do this. Like, have I done the right things? Have I crunched the numbers? Let me look at the numbers again. I mean, there's a piece of it that is helpful, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Where it's not helpful is when it stops us from taking action, or when it makes us suffer in some way. And so it does go back to, like, the foundation of everything is the same. So you want a tactical tool or tactical tip for what do you do when you're feeling fear? Well, fearful of something, whatever it is. Doesn't matter what the reason, like what you're about to go and do, because the what's going on inside is the same. What's happening is, in order for you to feel afraid, you are imagining that something bad is going to happen. Period. Like, it doesn't matter if you're going and getting in your car and driving somewhere and you feel afraid. Well, you're thinking you're going to crash. Like, right? And so regardless of what you're about to do, if you're feeling afraid, you're imagining that it is not going to go well. You're making up the scenario. You're playing out that something is not going to go well. You're going to fail in some way, and you're going to feel terrible.
Yeah.
And so then what happens? Your brain releases chemicals to your body. You feel that feeling of failure. You actually feel as though you failed when it
even
hasn't
though you haven't yet.
Yeah, even though you haven't yet. So, or that you crashed, or that you fumbled up with your words, or like whatever, or that you lost all your money. Whatever it is, you're making it up that it didn't go well in order to feel that feeling. And that's what I'm passionate about, inspiring everybody to understand. If I'm feeling this way, I did it. I did it to me. And it's like the good news, bad news. If I did it to me, it's like, oh crap, that's, that sucks. But the empowering piece of that is, if I did that to me, I can change it. Right.
Yeah.
So there's something you want to go and do. There's something you want to achieve. There's something there, you want it, but now you're feeling fear because you're worried about all these things. This is, assuming you've done your due diligence, you've taken the courses again, like there are people who do things unethically, in my opinion, and don't do the due diligence or don't look after people as well. So we're assuming that you've done all that goodness to look after everybody and make sure that, to the best of your ability, that, it's a solid investment or a solid opportunity, whatever it is.
Yeah. So this is assuming everything else is okay, but you're the only thing getting in your way.
That's right. And I just want to say that so that it's, again, you don't want to just blast through everything and not care and, jump without a parachute.
Yeah.
You can jump without the parachute up, obviously, but you need to have the parachute that's going to deploy.
Yes.
Anyhow, so what you want, there's a lot of different things you can do, but what you want to do is you want to think about, you need to get your brain releasing different chemicals to your body so that you feel different. You want to get rid of the fear. So that means you need to either think about all the things that you've done in the past that were great, or look at other people who have done what you're doing and see that it is possible so that you can feel better. Imagine it going really well so that you can feel better. And really, truly, when all else fails, you can think about a family vacation that you went on, or a time that was absolutely amazing, your wedding, a holiday, something like that. And when you imagine that, when you bring yourself there in your mind, what it does is it causes your brain to release those chemicals to your body that changes how you're feeling.
Okay, so I don't even have to be picturing that scenario or that outcome that I need or whatever. I just picture something that makes me happy or relaxed or whatever is good
Imagine,
vibes, good feels.
Yeah. Like imagine right now if you were to imagine cuddling a little one that you love, and you were like to imagine them in your arms, and you were to imagine it. You feel that, right? Just the same as if you imagine, an argument that you and Corey got in, and that something that really bugged you, and you imagined like he said this and then I said this and he said, all of a sudden you'd be like, again, right? Yeah, right. And so it's the same thing. So our minds are like, they're very powerful, and it is kind of playing with your mind in order to be in the driver's seat of how you're feeling so that you can achieve the goals that you want to achieve.
Okay, I love it. So you are re-chemicalizing your brain with positive things, which is literally a chemical that is released. So you've got that working for you. You've also got something else on your mind other than the negative. And yeah, that alone has you going in as a different person.
That's right. So now you're feeling good before you go, and you're showing up a vibrant person who's feeling good, feeling happy, feeling, like upbeat, motivated, inspired, and whatever. And then whatever happens, happens. And it either goes well or it doesn't. And then, and this isn't one of the three things, but here's the other really important piece is when you leave, let's pretend it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
How many of us replay that over and over and over again and torture ourselves for hours, days, weeks, months, maybe even years?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so then what are you doing? You are ruining your moments. Like every time you think about it, you're ruining that moment. And you're making it that whoever you're in the presence of, whether it's a business meeting, whether it's an investor meeting, whether it's with your family, you are not showing up as your vibrant best self, because you, inside your mind, nobody knows why. They're looking at you and you're just not really, vibrant.
Yeah.
And that's because inside your own mind, you're rehashing what happened, 6 years ago when you wish you could have, should have said something different.
Yeah. So you're going in with less confidence, even though no one else might know it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. I love it. Yeah. I like this note too, that Corey says that once someone told her that physically fear and excitement feel the same. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting. Like it's almost like take that negative energy and make it into something positive energy. Either way, it's energy.
The meaning that you're making of that feeling that you're having in your body, right? So when I'm sitting before I do something, what am I naming that feeling, and what's the meaning that I'm making of it? I'm either I can say, "Ooh, I'm super excited," or I can say, "Oh my gosh, I'm, terrified." And whatever I tell myself, dictates the story, how I'm going to go in.
100%. And like as always, Mel, like look at, you're talking about how we replay these moments for years and years and years and years, and they stay with us. And it's true. I mean, how many of us, actually, let's ask that. So not how many of us have replayed, again, I'm looking at the light, not how many of us have replayed in our minds, but how many of us have experienced fear. So there's about 40 of us on right now. So how many of us have experienced fear when it comes to real estate investing? Put in a thumbs up, a number one, anything in the chat. Put in a comment, guys. Let us know.
How many people are on here? It should be 40.
About 40, so it should be 40. Yeah, right? Heck yeah, right? Of course, Kevin says. Absolutely. Me, Tina says, like a healthy fear, right? And that's the thing I think, Mel, you're talking about, is that healthy fear. Yeah. Corey says never. Yeah, right. Corey's rocking and rolling in Calgary.
And she said, haha.
And you know what? Nope, not me. Sometimes people don't have that. Honestly, sometimes people don't. I've had people that say, honestly, no, I'm not fearful. And that's great. That's half the battle. So, if you're one of those lucky few lottery winners, hold on to it, baby. Don't let it go. But yeah, look at all these, comments. Yeah. Everyone is saying, most of us are saying, yeah, every day, most days. Yeah. So, okay. So we've established good. We know we're talking to our audience. We know that this is actually happening and everyone feels it, very regularly. That's okay. It is a strong word. Very strong. Okay. So we are going to picture proper things, positive things, so that we're changing our chemicals. We're going to walk in a different person for that. That's fear. So we're not going to not have fear, but we're just going to find tools to get through that fear. Now, what's number two? What's another big thing that you see investors go through that?
Yeah. And so the next thing, the prescription is the same, but the challenge or the obstacle that a lot of people face is a lack of confidence. So
Seriously.
a lot of people lack confidence, even to get on Zoom or to go to networking events, or let alone to be, quote unquote, I don't believe we're doing this anyways, but asking for money. Like, I don't look at it that way, which is another mindset thing. How you look at it, which is sort of a side thing, but I don't look at it as asking people for money ever. I've never felt like I've asked anybody for $1 ever. I honestly feel like I put out opportunities, and when that opportunity lines up with what somebody else is wanting in their life, what their goals are, then great. And if it doesn't line up, like, I wouldn't want them to do it, because I don't, I only want people to achieve their goals.
And you're so lucky, because that was honestly my biggest hurdle. I so just felt like I was begging for money.
But so you're not.
Right? I know. And once I realized that people had missed out on stuff and then were regretting it. And I was like, wait a second, I'm their vehicle for change. I am an opportunity here. That was huge in changing our whole entire business and being able to raise capital. Yeah, for sure.
And not like an arrogant, like, I'm an opportunity, so if you miss out, then that's your loss. But like, we're presenting opportunities, and I don't feel like it's a rejection if somebody doesn't want to partner with me or lend to me. I think it just doesn't line up with what they want, or we're not aligned as people, and so again, that is a mindset thing. Somebody says no, I can take that either way. The story that I run in my mind can be, they don't like me, I wasn't good enough, I should have said this, I should have said that, oh my gosh, I'm such a failure, I better go climb under a blanket and cry. Or my story can be like, that's no problem at all, because it doesn't achieve their, like, we're just not aligned. It doesn't help them get closer to the goal, so I wouldn't want them to do it anyways.
Yeah, way better way of coming out of that meeting, that feeling, that opportunity, whatever it might be. Yeah. I want you to guess on this. Who is it? It's the same person who said, nope, not me, no fear.
Oh, Ryan.
I'm thinking it's Ryan.
Ryan needs to sign up for StreamYard.
That's my guess. So let's see if we're right. Anyways, yeah. Okay. So great stuff. So number two is underconfidence.
So lack of confidence. So lack of confidence. I mean, honestly, it all stems from the same place. If you're lacking confidence, you are thinking bad things about yourself. You're thinking you're not capable. You're thinking that you're going to mess up. You're thinking about past failures, things that are like, I mean, when I say failure, I'm using that word loosely. Past times where you didn't do what you wished you would have done, or it didn't go the way you wanted it to go. And then you are mapping that across to what you're about to do, and thinking that because that didn't go well before, it isn't going to go well in the future. Or you are literally imagining, like, let's pretend somebody's going to do a speaking engagement. I mean, I know here, whether the speaking engagement is that you're presenting an opportunity, it doesn't matter. But, if you imagine yourself like, or just like complete, I don't know what I'm going to say, like losing your whatever. If that's what you imagine is going to happen before you go and do it, oh my good Lord, how can you possibly walk into that and feel confident, right?
Brutal.
Yeah. So, and we do it. This is the craziness. Like, we do it and we don't even realize we're doing it. If we don't pay attention and decide to take charge of our thoughts, we just naturally torture ourselves, and we don't even know. We just think it's because we don't have confidence. We just, we don't realize we're literally doing it to ourselves.
So, and that's a point that you made on fear, and applies to this too, obviously. I really like it. So the beauty of that is, if we acknowledge the problem and that we created it, some people don't ever want to be at fault.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't hurt us to find out we're at fault. It should actually help us, because that means that we're also the one in control of fixing it. If we caused it, we can fix it. If someone else causes it, well, then we're victims. We cause it, we can change it. I love it.
Awesome. And when you think that you are this way because other people, did this or that, let's use an example, even like angry or unhappy. I'm unhappy and angry because the government did this, the person beside me did that, my kids did this, my husband did that, my partner did this, like whatever it might be. If I feel like that it's because of them, then I am completely unable to fix anything because I cannot control them.
Yeah.
Right? I am helpless. I have no control over my life at all. If I feel that I'm angry, and I can't remember the other word I said, but I'm angry and upset because of my response to that, then all of a sudden I'm empowered to figure out how in the heck am I going to change this, because I can't change that they did that or said that, but I can change what's going on in me so that I can feel better. And all of a sudden I'm empowered. It's taking responsibility for your life. Do you want to feel good? Do you want to be happy? Do you want to achieve your results? Do you want to hit massive success? If you do, then you got to pay attention to the things that you can control, which is you.
Yeah. Love it. Awesome. Someone just said this too. Never blame someone else. We're responsible for our own. And that's absolutely true, guys. It's all up to us. Okay. So number one issue most of us will face is fear. Number two is lack of confidence. Lack of confidence.
So a little tip with that. I mean, I know I kind of talked around the, thinking, but the tip for that is like in the moment. So you're in the moment, you're about to go and do something or pick up the phone and have a conversation or go on a Zoom or walk into a coffee meeting or networking event or whatever it is. You're like literally right before you're going to do this thing and you're lacking confidence. What you want to do is think about, I would say in an ideal situation, 3 different things, but you need to take your time to do it. But things in the past where you have felt confident. And again, you don't just think about it and say the words. What you have to do is you actually have to imagine it. So like for me, let's pretend I'm dancing on stage. Let's pretend I'm like, in a dance competition doing hip hop. I know what that feels like when the lights are on, when the crowds are cheering, and when I'm giving it my all and the music's black. Like I know that feeling inside of me where I just it's a feeling, right? I know it. So I can use that experience in my life to elicit the feeling of confidence in me now for what it is that I'm about to do, even though what I'm about to do is not getting on stage and competing in hip hop. It's, having an investor meeting with somebody. So you're literally playing with your mind to conjure up that feeling so that feeling is in me. Now I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling the feeling of confidence, not necessarily confident about that meeting, but now I have that feeling of confidence. Now I walk in exuding that.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the tip for underconfidence is think about another situation in which you have felt confidence and try to kind of muster up those feelings again, even if it has nothing to do with real estate.
Yeah, and it usually won't. It'll be like riding your bike or, for me, I go to what it feels like to be behind the boat, wake surfing. Like that's another one, right? So there are going to be times as a kid, even if it was like at your lemonade stand, if it was riding your bicycle, if it was, it can be literally anything. A time you're playing basketball and you got it through the hoop and, you were awesome. And, it can be anything.
And like I'm trying to think, okay, what moment do I have where I have felt super confident? And like I actually think I have to really think about that. I don't know, like okay, wakeboarding, but I'm not confident because I'm like any second I'm gonna fall and I also am like, is my bathing suit still on? So I'm not confident at all. Yeah, I gotta think about that. So maybe it's gonna take a little bit of, I like what you said earlier too, how it's a conscious decision. Yeah. So this isn't just, okay, I feel fearful or there's fear around and like, okay, moving on now. Cause that's kind of what I do lots of times, just like, okay, push through it. But you're saying, no, stop, acknowledge it, take control of it, and then initiate these tools. So in my case, I think I'll really have to figure out like, okay, so what is that moment that I'm going to go back to?
Maybe it's a parenting moment. Maybe it's so yeah, you
Probably
do
not.
Well, I'm sure there was a time where there are times, right?
Yeah.
It honestly, like, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be some big significant thing. And yeah, it does take time. There's a willingness to, if you want to achieve a different level of success than the average person achieves, then you have to be willing to do things different than the average person does. So the average person just would do that. Oh, like just get over it and move on. No, if I want to rock that meeting, if I want to blow it out of the water, I have this thing, I want to be like rippling out goodness into the world. I want to be, I say it, this is really cheesy, but like shining on the inside so bright that just sprinkles out and ripples out beyond, so that when I die, I've made a difference. Anyways, so what that means is if that's what I want, then I got to do the work. I can't just go, brush that off to the side and go. I've got to do the work to shine inside, right? I've got to actually do the work to feel as good as I can feel. When you do something like MindPower Monday, when you do what you do for, Tactical Tuesdays, if you're purposeful, you want to show up the best version of yourself. And that means I always, before I came on here, again, sat with my hand on my heart, sat quiet, connected with, I do these things because I want to be purposeful and I want to do a good job. I don't just fly in, right? So it's mental preparation.
It is. That's huge game.
Yeah.
And so this is Lisa Stanley. I'm sure this is Lisa.
Ned. Yes.
She needs to think about riding Ned, and that gives her that feeling of calmness and confidence. So whatever it is for you, find it and then go back to it. And like you said, you go back to the same one. So it's not like we have to create all these new ones all the time. We can go back to those moments in our lives when we did feel confident.
And here's the thing, you use it as a tool. giving a panic attack.
Okay, seriously. When you were saying that, I'm like, holy crap. Like my anxiety level is coming on right now.
Here's what I'll tell you. Before I go on stage, I literally feel like I'm going to die. I feel like my legs are not going to hold me up. I have this feeling when you're behind in the wings and you're waiting, I feel like my legs are not going to hold me up. But the minute I'm on stage and I'm doing it, and the crowd, and because we're old people dancing, so the audience goes crazy and stuff. So that energy, but I don't feel that before, but I know what I'm about to feel. And that's why that's how I can get through the feeling like I can't feel my legs to get myself on stage.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. This is good stuff. And just a little bit of love.
Thank you, Crystal.
Yeah, it's good. All right. Could just listen to this before your next meeting when you feel fearful.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? It's true. Just listen to it and go through all the way. Lots of comments, lots of people saying, yeah, I hear you, Mel. And we listen. Yes, Ange, that is adrenaline. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah. And I can see you being a superstar. Man.
Oh gosh.
Hip flop. Look at you. I love it. Okay, guys. Okay, awesome. Okay. So power posture. Yeah, Melanie's talked about our body language before too. I don't know if you want to give that a little plug in there, but
so physiology. So your physiology is directly correlated to how you're feeling inside. So really interesting. I mean, there's a Peanuts cartoon that I could share at some point. It's really cute. But when you are feeling down, you naturally your physiology is more of a hunched over, your breathing is different, you're everything is just like this. I don't know the words. And it's correlated with you're thinking about something, you're feeling bad, you're feeling down, you're feeling sad. Naturally, your body language is like this. If you are feeling bad and you stand up and you put your arms up in the air and you can only do this in some places, and you look up. If you're thinking about your problem and you do this and you're standing with your arms up and you look up, you cannot feel down. It is bizarre. You might not believe me, but I want you to try it. You have a problem, you're thinking about the problem and you're feeling down. Keep thinking about that problem, but stand up, put your hands up in the air, put your head up in the air, and literally it's it disconnects something in your brain so that you cannot feel the same way. So
I and it's not that I don't believe you. I've never tried it, but I don't doubt it because I feel like there's so much that we can almost force.
Yeah.
And it's you're forcing your body to be upright, positive, engaging, open, all these different things.
You could think of it as forcing, or you could think of it as using it as a tool.
That's a better way to think of it, MindPower. Melanie. I love it.
And one thing I'll say about that, like, in all seriousness, if you have a big problem, standing up and putting your hands up in the air is not going to fix your problem. All of these things, and this is a good kind of little side note, all of the things that I share, it doesn't fix your problem, but it puts you in a resourceful state to be able to be solution focused. So when we're in a problem state, we are not solutions focused. We can't solve the problem from the same state that the problem exists.
Because we're like survival mode, not solutions mode.
And you're down, you're unmotivated, you're upset, you're defeated, you're whatever is going on for you, you're not in a resourceful state. In order to solve a problem, to come up with creative ideas and potential solutions, you need to be in a resourceful state. And so again, you can either wait until you're feeling well enough, or you can do specific things and use the tools and use your brain, the power of your mind, in order to create that state inside so that you can then move forward to solution.
I love it. Yeah. So, because you have to get out of that spot to be able to fix that spot.
And the biggest thing is you got to be willing to. Like, that's probably one of the biggest obstacles to overcome, is the willingness to, when you're in a funk, when you're in that not great state, the willingness to change, like to do something. Yeah. Because we can sometimes kind of dig our heels in and be like, well, no. And you know what? That's fine. Sometimes it's like, no, I want to feel like this for a bit. Okay, then do that. And then at some point you have tools to be able to pull yourself out.
Yeah. It's it's like a, our literal toolbox. We might have all the tools we need, but that, baseboard still sits disconnected from the wall for 2 years. We can choose to fix it, or we can choose to sit with it. But at least when we choose to, we know how. So that's
exactly.
Yeah. Awesome. Exactly. I love it. All right. What's the one more thing? The last thing, because we know it's not the last
thing. I know. I saw how you worded that. That was
but it's the last thing we are going to talk about tonight, that you see a lot of with investors. Again, you do a lot of work with investors, a lot of work with our Ignited members over the last couple of years, and of course with your background in NLP, which is the Tony Robbins thing, right? Like, that's what he also uses.
He does it in a very big, energetic, raw way. I do it in a quiet way, but the foundation of the work is the same. His background is NLP as well.
So with all of that and all of your experience with investors for over the last couple of years, what is one more thing that you see on a very regular basis that can hold us back, stall our investing, even once we've been successful, or when we're starting out, all of that? What is one more thing that holds us back a lot?
This is the saddest one for me, I think, and we all can tend to do it and have to make the decision not to do it. But comparing ourselves to others, it's a massive problem for so many investors. And I think it's so heartbreaking because, it's like anything in life. You can look and things look a certain way. There's a couple things about it. Number one, you have no idea what people are going through or what their actual situation is. So you can look, and it can look like there are these amazing, incredibly successful investors. Meanwhile, they're about to go bankrupt because they've over leveraged and they've whatever. And so you could waste a whole bunch of time and energy comparing yourself and feeling less than because they took such amazing action. And then and for what, right?
100%. Yes.
And I bet you've seen that.
Yes, I have seen that very many times over the years. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Very.
And then the other piece of that. So one is, you don't know what's going on for other people. The other is, and this is, I think, the part that I'm passionate about, is we have to be clear on what our goals and dreams are. We have to understand and take the time to know what I am working towards. What are my goals? Because if I'm crystal clear on what it is that I'm wanting to achieve, it doesn't matter to me, and I'm on that path, it doesn't matter to me what other people are doing. I can look at what they're doing and be really happy for them because they're on their own path. If I feel like I'm not on track, or I never took the time to even figure out what it is that I wanted, I just dove in and thought I'd look at everybody else and think they're amazing and I suck. Well, that's not very helpful. And again, it all goes back to whatever story you're telling yourself, whatever you're doing, at the end of the day, it creates how you feel. And then it also, not only does it create how you feel, it also creates the action that you take or you don't take towards achieving your goals. So
yeah, it's awesome. I love it. Everyone else is loving it too, for sure. But it, yeah, it's a powerful one, because when we feel alone and we feel like we're the only ones that are not achieving, man, that one can really, really, really isolate us. We stop showing up to, the events because we feel like an imposter or a failure. We stop wanting to have conversations because we don't want to have to say, oh, I haven't bought anything, I haven't done anything, I haven't whatever. All of those, and when we start isolating ourselves, that's when trouble hits. That's when, yeah, go ahead.
well, and then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you isolate yourself, you then get less results or no results, and then you feel worse about yourself. So then you isolate yourself more, and then you continue to not take action. So I mean, it's just a terrible, terrible spiral. And the really interesting thing when you dive into it is, what you want out of your life, what your goals are different than mine. And that changes from time to time. It's like you and I have had this conversation. There was a chunk of time where my focus was on building for the future so that I knew I had a retirement. Then now things have shifted and my focus is on active income because I want to enjoy the now. And in a couple of years, maybe that will shift again because something will happen in my life. And so it's a constant reevaluation, the willingness to constantly be reevaluating, what do I want in my life? If I really know what I want in my life, it's irrelevant to me what you want, because I'm just building my life. I can cheer you on. You can get 5 million doors and I can be your biggest cheerleader, but it's not going to get me what I want.
Yeah. Have you seen this quote before that Crystal says the only reason we should look into someone else's bowl is to make sure they have enough?
Oh, I love that.
I do too. I've never heard it before, but
No,
it's
me
true.
neither.
You want to look in someone else's bowl, don't be doing it to compare. Do it to make sure they have enough.
Yeah.
And what a difference in mindset that is.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Mindset is, I mean, it is exactly what it sounds like. I mean, it is what you're thinking about. And you can either fly by the seat of your pants and just go through life and not pay attention, or that's a good one. That's a really good one too.
Is that Yoda? I think it's Yoda.
Is it Yoda? No,
I don't
it's
know.
Henry Ford.
Henry Ford. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
But it's like we either do life purposefully, where we pay attention to these things, and again, because we want to achieve results that the average person doesn't want to achieve, we're going for things that the average person doesn't, which means we got to level up. We got to pay attention to things in a different way. What are the successful people doing? Really successful people, they're paying attention to this stuff. They are not letting themselves get in the way of achieving what they want out of life. They're working on their personal development. Like it's a critical element of success, and one that I think is often overlooked because we get so caught in like the tangibles. And this mindset can seem airy fairy woo woo. To me, it is so non airy fairy. It is so like, to me, scientific. It's chemicals in the brain, physiology, how we show up, the energy that we give. If I show up happy and vibrant, you're going to want to talk to me. If you're going to want to talk to me and I can be present enough to pay attention to you because I'm not in my own head, well, we're going to build a relationship. And when we build a relationship, maybe one day you'll trust me to like it. There's a correlation, a direct correlation.
100%. Yeah. So. I love it. Okay. So what are you up to now? What are you moving into? So you've helped us with our Igniteds. You do our group coaching in there with momentum, keeping momentum, all this mindset stuff. You've taught all of our Igniteds, all these tools, the ones that are saying, yeah, Mel taught me that. I've been doing it. It works. All these things. We've seen huge success with Ignited members. And
you have to listen to me rant.
They listen to you rant, whatever. But you've had a huge part of that. Tell me how you're moving into how and why you're moving into doing coaching one-on-one. What are you seeing with investors that you're noticing is like a definite need?
Well, all of these things. So all of these things we talked about today and a lot more. I mean, the reality is that that there's a need for people to build this side of themselves so that they can go and achieve their goals. So, people are in all of these amazing programs like Ignited. I mean, Ignited, I'll toot that horn all day long. It changed my life, literally, like literally. And so that's not just some plug. I mean, that is the truth. It changed my
Thank
life.
you.
For real. If you can take the courses and learn the how to's and learn how to analyze the numbers and markets and all of that stuff, if you don't master your mindset, if you don't, and it's like training your brain to think differently. I imagine your brain with these two, weights, and you're doing bicep curls, your brain's doing bicep curls. It's in there going, yeah, like that's what I envision. I mean, you've got to train your brain to think differently. You've got neural pathways that have been used to going in a certain direction, and now you're trying to change and carve out a new path. It's like, imagine a forest in your brain. You've got this highway in your brain where you've always thought this way, and you realize it's not working for you, and that if you were to think differently, maybe you could get different results. Well, you've got to carve out a new pathway. You've got to first cut down some trees, and you've got to level off the ground, and you've got to do all these things. And that's over time. If you start to think in a different way, you start to carve out a new highway, and the other one's going to get grown over, and you're not going to go down that one, anymore at some point. So, I'm passionate about helping people enjoy the journey. That's a big one for me too. Like, one is achieving success. I want to support people in achieving success. I also want to support people in knowing how to feel as good as you can feel right now, because we don't know how many days we have. None of us do. So to be miserable today, fighting for success, hoping one day you're going to get to enjoy that, no, that doesn't work for me. It's like, how can I feel as good as I can feel? Even though in real estate investing can be challenging and stressful and, and all of these things, that's a given. You want to do this, it's going to get tough sometimes. But then you need to build up the resilience. You need to build up the inner strength, the tools to be able to overcome those things, so that nothing stops you from creating that life that you want and deserve. So,
and so that you, like you said, so that you're also enjoying it now, because I mean, our company motto is where investing meets lifestyle. So Invest Your Life, company name, and then where investing meets lifestyle.
Yeah.
Because we saw exactly what you're talking about. So many people were working for the end goal, the end game, killing themselves to do it, sometimes literally, not joking.
Yeah.
And miserable along the way. Relationships are stressed and strained, and yet, they're doing this for that person or that relationship or that family member or whatever. It's not going to be any fun doing it alone. If you make it to the end and you're standing there alone with 50 million houses, it doesn't help you.
Right. That's right.
It's the lifestyle now that also is great. So, and we know you have more than enough tools to be able to help us to be reasonable, apply that, live in the now, yet plan for the future. You lived it yourself. You had to build your portfolio from scratch, and you did it. And, now your future is all set. And now you're, looking to live and enjoy now and be able to do all the things that you want to do. So you are a living example of doing it, not only from in your lifestyle, but then you also know the science behind it. So that's kind of helpful too.
Well, and I'm a work in progress, just like everybody else. I mean, I believe that the journey here until the day I go is that I'm going to be learning and growing, and I'm going to face challenges, and I'm going to figure out how to overcome them. So, I'm realistic. It's not like you learn this stuff and voila, your whole life is, like a miracle. It's that life can be challenging. It can throw you things that you don't expect to have happen. It can be really painful sometimes. It can be super stressful sometimes. But I still want to be happy, and I still want to enjoy what I have right now while I have it. And I'm going after some pretty big goals. And so, I gotta clean up this if I want to get that. So,
right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have a Facebook group that you have just started. Very exciting.
Facebook group. I can't, there's barely anything on it right now, but I've started it. Step number one.
Absolutely. Step number one, it's all baby steps, like you've said to every one of us. So it is Mindset Reset with Melanie.
Yeah. Mindset Reset with Melanie.
Okay.
Mindset Reset, like capital R, capital E, because I'm coaching real estate investors. I mean, I specifically, now that I've had this experience, get it?
I get it. Capital RE. Yeah, real estate. I like it.
So I'm coaching real estate investors. So that's a page where we can come together and I can share all this stuff on a regular basis and support investors in mindset for success.
Awesome. So guys, if you are looking for more of this stuff, it's all over the place, but we know where we all choose to go for this kind of stuff. So yeah, go jump into Melanie's group. I'm sure there'll be lots of content there soon enough. And in the meantime, thank you, Melanie, for everything you've done for us, for this group, for everyone here. I'm going to say this without crying, but we are here cheering you on, as everyone here is, I'm sure, because you've helped us so much. And yeah, we can't wait to see what you do and where you go and all of these things. Look at this. Oh, I just joined. Someone says I'm a living.
Yay.
Yeah. So lots of good stuff.
Angie.
All the best to you with your new endeavor. We're totally going to be here cheering you on. You know that.
And I'm not going anywhere. Like, well, I know. I'm not going anywhere. No, there is no crying. I said it yesterday on MindPower Monday. I'm not doing MindPower Monday anymore, but I'm here. I'm in the communities. Like I'm here. So
we know. You're not going anywhere.
I cried all day yesterday, so I don't need to cry today. I did my last day yesterday, and then I cried.
Oh, you're awesome. Glad. All right. So we will see you in your group. We know that you are still rocking and rolling our Ignited members. So thank you for always doing that. This is Ryan too, I'm thinking.
No, Ryan, I'm not.
All right. So all the best. Everyone support this girl and her amazing business. And we are and always will. And yeah, we will see you in 2 days. It feels like a goodbye, but it's not a goodbye.
I know. But yeah. I'm here always, you guys. I'm here always. I want to cheer everybody on. And you, Corey and Tiffany, and Fearless and Ignited, all of it. I'm still here.
All right. We will see you over in Laser, and we will see you in your group. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. And
thank you.
Big kiss, Mel.
Thank you for everything, everyone.